snap it, and it's Trey Burton who throws caught. Foles, touchdown.
And here he goes. It's Hester inside the 30. Hester's going to take it all the way for a touchdown. Picked off. Look out. Good pass, Manning. And it's Tracy Porter taking it all the way. Touchdown, New Orleans.
You're listening to the Pigskin Project, the world's #1 football podcast. Now, with more insights on all things football, here are your hosts, Ben Hansen and Ryan Matthews. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Pigskin Project. Today we do have a guest with us, but Ben, let's just start things off as we always do. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing phenomenal. Again, we were now a week out officially from day one. Getting not so much anxious, but kind of excited for the draft. Again, we got a special guest in here, and he'll know as well that we spend 3-4 months of the season leading up to this, like looking at these players and talking about them. So it'll be fun to finally see in a week this kind of come to fruition.
Right. Yeah, of course. And I mean, man, is it awesome to be live, interacting with audience. It's really, really cool to be able to do that and everything. But without further ado, to introduce our special guest, Matt. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good. I can't complain. Excited to talk football. I mean,
oh yeah,
that's always the fun part of my day.
It's always been good. The cool thing is that Matt, I mean, the last time that we talked was the draft combine, and now we're only a week out of the actual NFL draft, which seems so far away at that point.
And like, I think it's so fun because we haven't talked in so long, but like, think about how different the landscape of the draft was at the combine to today. Like when I was doing mock drafts in February, Trayvon Walker was bottom half of the first. Now he's in the top 2. He's going to go in the top 5.
Right. Yeah, no, I mean, it's all been, just a giant, I mean, things have been mixed up and everything. And I feel like it was given from the jump ever since, the draft was actually, or at least, what was it when the scouting combine was going on? Obviously there were mock drafts that kind of put players in certain positions that were bound to change from the get-go, but like players like David Bell that were projected to go early second round have definitely fallen since then, as well as numerous people in the first round. And I just think as well as the draft order goes as well too. I mean, it's completely different than what we've shown previously.
Yeah, and I mean, as for me, and I think the same can go for Matt. Like he said, I mean, so many players have been rearranged in our thought process on it. Like last time, I mean, this was just even a few weeks ago. Last time that Matt was on here with me, like I still was a lot lower on Desmond Ridder than what I was before, and Kenny Pickett was still viewed as QB1 for most people. So I mean, like we've said, it'll be fun to see what we thought 2 or 3 months ago and how stuff actually turns out in just a week from now.
Yeah, absolutely. So without further ado, I mean, we have a couple of I guess not too much news has really gone on since, I mean, just last week. Too much, I guess, is the right form of, way to say that. But anyway, Deebo Samuel formally requesting a trade was huge, just to say the least. I mean, Ben, what do you have to say about that one? And then Matt will get your comment as well.
Yeah, again, I'm not too surprised. I said it 2 or 3 weeks ago. As soon as he put his pitchers down, this is what was going to happen. It was either going to be that or he wanted his money. And we'll get to Matt's kind of thoughts on this, but if you guys listened to last episode, we played a little game, and I was definitely up in the air of whether or not I wanted Debo, and I think I ended up deciding on yes. But that's changed. I don't want Debo. I think his production is out of all the guys that are at least rumored to be on the market, in AJ Brown, DK, McLaurin. Debo's production is going to be the hardest to reproduce, and me and Matt and Ryan, I know we were having conversations off air. His value, I guess, is his versatility, and he wants 25, 26, 27 million dollars. Meanwhile, he's such a special player because he could play running back and wide receiver, and that's why he wants the $26 million. And I mean, right now the RB market is trash. I mean, we're playing RBs like $6 million, and he wants $26 million because he can play RB and wide receiver. And as for that, I don't know who formally reported it, but I think it was 2 or 3 days ago. It came out that he no longer wants to play the wide receiver running back format, and I think he said he strictly just wants to be a wide receiver. But I mean, I'm gonna just see what your guys' thoughts on the whole situation is as well.
Matt, what you got for us?
Listen, I'm not. I am not for paying wide receivers, just because we look at this draft class. Okay, like this draft class from a wide receiver standpoint isn't top heavy in any way. It's a deep class, but like you look at Garrett Wilson, Jamison Williams, Chris Olave, you see all these guys that are going to be successful, and their pay for 4 years is going to be what, at max 10 mil a year. So like,
yeah,
it's just paying a guy with mediocre, like his first 2 years were rough, and then he breaks out in year 3 for the big money, and then the Tyreek Hill the Devontae Adams trade happens, he gets paid. The Tyreek Hill trade happens, he gets paid, and now it's just a big mess with Debo, and I don't know. I don't think I'm willing to give up the capital, the draft capital, to get him, and then also add a 25 mil a year for 4-year contract. I just, with how the position is played, like, you're gonna find production,
right?
Maybe not his unique production, and that's the thing, is if he's not gonna play this unique role, then what makes me want to pay him this money? Why is he different if he's not going to play that role?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing that we really talked about as soon as the news broke was, as far as my points go, it was just the versatility. The ways that you can use this player is insane. And just looking at last year, for example, it was just this big, like, wow. I mean, this guy is the utility player of football. And just I'm assuming that his stock went crazy after this season, and especially because the trade was a possibility now. And so after that, we all were just like, wow. I mean, that's huge. But after he came out saying he wants to be just like a pure wide receiver, I'm sure that's what kind of moved teams out of the picture as well. You look at teams like Chicago that already had a bid on him as soon as controversy started coming out, or at least reports were starting to come up like that, and now you're not hearing anything about whether or not they're in the race at all. And that could be his asking price as well, and other things such as that. But I mean, if you really look at it from that standpoint, the Jets are one of those teams that are still in on him. They're really desperate to get that number one wide receiver. He could be the guy. They could overspend just because they're extremely desperate, but I'm looking forward to seeing how this plays out, because I would almost guarantee you that he is gone within the next week.
Yeah, if he's gonna get traded, if he's gonna get traded for his max value for the most he's gonna go, it's gonna be before the draft. I would be shocked. I'm gonna be honest. I'd be shocked if the Jets were the team to do it, just because, like Matt was saying, I'm scared to pay wide receivers that much money, let alone as much as he wants to say he's going to play wide receiver, he's a wide receiver running back. Again, that's his value. I'm already scared to pay wide receivers big money, let alone a wide receiver running back big money. And why would I trade a first round pick and have to pay him that much money when I can draft my personal favorite, Jamison Williams, in the first round at 10th, or even move back and still get a great player in the mid first. I wonder what he's going to go for, because I wonder how the league is going to value him.
Yeah, no. I mean, as far as, draft capital and everything, if you haven't listened to last podcast, last episode, give that one a listen for sure, just because I definitely think that's, I don't feel like my my trade, I guess, projections were out of the ordinary, just because of how good he was last season. And I think that he can replicate that later on. Matt, you listen to our podcasts, pretty frequently. Would you say,
putting him on the spot?
Yeah. Would you say that those were astronomically high or low, or would you say that it was reasonably priced as far as Debo's trade value last episode?
And not to throw you on the spot real quick, just in case you didn't listen, it was a lot of it. It was basically the teams that are interested, that we've already seen, trading a first round pick for him, was basically how Ryan viewed his value.
I can also go over that as well.
That's about the value. I think mid to low first. If Devontae Adams and Tyreek Hill are going for that price, Debo should definitely go for that price. I think it's just, what team has that pick? You look at a team like the Jets. Would the Jets have to trade both their seconds to get it done? Would they have to trade back on trade night? I think a team in prime position for Debo that people aren't really thinking about is the Chiefs. I think if the Chiefs sit back at 29 and 30 and this wide receiver, and we get a wide receiver boom, last year we had 3 wide receivers go in the top 10. That's it's a realistic possibility that Garrett Wilson, Jamison Williams, Drake London are gone by pick 16. I've had this thought as a Saints fan. The Chiefs sit back at 29 and 30, and the wide receiver market starts booming, and you're looking at Skye Moore and Jahan Dotson at 29, or I could make a blockbuster deal and get Deebo Samuel. I think that's a realistic possibility.
And this was my kind of thought process behind that, because I told Ryan I liked the premise of that idea, but more so than anything, and then after this we can get people's closing thoughts before we move on to the next one, because we don't want to stay in this all day, because believe me, all 3 of us could. I don't know if the Chiefs would be willing to do it, because they were not willing to pay Tyreek Hill the $30 million that he wanted. So not only are you going to have to be dishing out a big, it's probably going to be a little less than $30 million for Debo. So not only are you dishing out this big contract, but now you're also giving up a first round pick. And I could see the Chiefs doing it. But I think they should have, and I've said this from the start of the trade, they should have just paid Tyreek his money at that point. But,
yeah. No, I like I said before, I'm very, very interested to see where this can go. As far as the draft goes, like I said, I definitely can see him gone, either before or during the draft. I think that that's just a given, though. But speaking of the draft, next week, boys, we are just 1 week away from the event that we thought was just light years away. The NFL draft is coming up next week. We are starting the show just a little bit earlier than we normally are, considering normally we stream around 8:30 Central, but now it's going to be at 7 o'clock Central when the draft starts, and that could change. So looking that up and everything, as far as the draft goes, we are starting as soon as, if not maybe a little bit before, the draft starts. So, looking forward to that show. We have a lot lined up for that show as well, including numerous guests, coming on the show and giving their thoughts for maybe their team picks. Maybe something else happens, but we're trying to reach out to a diverse amount of fans to try and get everybody's little reactions or whatever for the show. So getting a ton of people on would mean a lot. But with that being said, I'm really looking forward to it. And Matt, I think you're one of the guests. A little spoiler alert for everybody that's listening, but Matt, are you excited to come on next week's show? And what are your thoughts? Before we get into the rest of the show today.
Yeah, I'm excited to lose my mind when we trade into the top 10 and get Kenny Pickett. I'm excited for people to hear me freak out when
This
that
man's
happens.
about to throw a punch at his TV.
It's gonna be when the Eagles drafted Jalen Hurts, but like times 10.
Yeah.
Oh man. Anyway, yeah. So Ben, you had a question for Matt and I going into this episode. Now you did keep that pretty concealed when we were talking about what we will be talking about this episode. What was this question? And I'm looking forward to giving you our raw reactions, and Matt can start us off on answering it as well.
Yeah, it's not like a crazy question that's gonna like kind of blow your mind, but it's more of a just like a thought-provoking experiment here. Again, I really wish I would have known the handle to give this person credit, but I was scrolling through Twitter about a week ago, and I saw somebody on Twitter pose this question. I firmly believe one way, but do you think the players that are in the green room on draft night should be getting paid? I can either give you guys what I think first, and then let you guys give your thought processes, or I can go last. What do you guys think?
Matt, I mean, you can. Oh, wait. Yeah. I mean, if you want to give us your thoughts before or after, it's up to you. I'm going to wait until after Matt goes to give my answer, but.
All right. Well, I firmly believe that they absolutely should get paid. I mean, just like any other TV show out there, these people get paid for their appearances on TV. And yes, this is an awesome experience for these guys, but the problem is they've like, I don't know how to put this without sounding like a crazy person, but they've been, I mean, brainwashed into believing like, oh, like the value of this is, I get to be there. Meanwhile, like, I mean, guys are giving up the chance to spend time with their families and be there to come to the green room for the entertainment of us, all while not getting paid to do it. I think if they are showing up and they're going to be on live television, just like any other person out there, they need to get paid. And the problem is they're not, because again, like I said, they've been brainwashed into thinking that like it's a privilege to be there, which it has, but they've worked their butts off their entire life to get to that point. And I feel like they should receive compensation for that.
Matt?
No, I don't think they should, because I think it would influence too many people to step out and go into this green room and make it about, the drama. You know what I'm saying? I think that if there is a payment going around, I think you could be more volatile to having a player freak out You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe not making it so reality TV show, but like, I'm just saying, like, it's to really make a statement like, oh, this guy's falling. You know, you look at a few years ago, Lamar Jackson, you know, the media was loving the Lamar Jackson green room thing. Him laying there on his phone next to his mom, you know, like that, they were all over that. So I think, imagine if he's getting paid for that, I think it could take out raw emotion of getting that draft pick, and I think that you're more subject to a possible like quote freak out, you know, like just the reality TV show thing. I don't know. I don't think so.
And I get here. Hold on. I get that. I get that side of the argument for sure. And again, it's not something that I feel so strongly about. And I don't know if you remember this, but like I feel bad, but like one of the most memorable like green room moments I remember is poor Shaquem Griffin, dude. He went into the green room, and Shaquem Griffin, like I don't know why he was in the green room. For those who don't know the green room, it's like it's a room off stage at the draft where like the top prospects, the guys that go in the first and second round, have the option to like sit there and everything and walk up on stage and get their hat and everything. But the green room is where they stay. And most of the time, the green room is just for like the first and second round guys. And I think Shaquem Griffin went in the fourth round, somewhere somewhere in the mid rounds. And the poor dude was just sitting there for like days in the green room with nobody else around him. And I honestly felt bad for him. I don't know if you guys remember that or not, though.
Yeah, I mean, I guess for me, the only, or not really the only, but more so, the most popular green room situation that I can remember off the top of my head isn't necessarily one of my favorite players in the league, but more so, it's Aaron Rodgers. I mean, he fell way more than, people had really projected him to go. There is, I guess, there was a lot of speculation as to where he's going to go and everything. And as far as Aaron Rodgers goes, I mean, you saw the obvious disappointment in his face when he saw how far he was dropping. And the thing is like, yes, that captures the drama and everything, but here's my take on the whole question part of it. I feel like it shouldn't just be the people in the green room that get paid. I think it should also be the people that are at home as well, because they are also getting that, on-screen camera look and everything like that. So, if you get to use your name, your likeness, anything like that, just as you are in college, I feel like you without a doubt should have that form of, payment, just because, at the end of the day, I mean, you're making an appearance and you're the person that's really getting these viewers to tune in. You have fans and everything tuning in and everything. So I feel like you shouldn't necessarily be forced to go to something and, miss out on family time when you could be hosting it at your own house. You know what I mean? As far as, the green room drama and everything is, that, I mean, that'll happen. It's a draft. That's the whole reason why people tune into the draft. The trades, the drama, the who's going to fall farther than people expect, that stuff. So, boil it down to it, people should get paid no matter what. My thing is, though, the limitation that comes with that is, if your name appears on screen, or if you and your family appear on screen, that's who needs to get paid. Now, there are numerous people that show up and, they don't get drafted and stuff like that. Maybe they're not on screen, whatever. Those people, I feel like, should not get at least as much payment. But if we're going to be paying people in general, it needs to just be the people that do get drafted in those prime spots and, create that drama for the viewers. That's my take.
Yeah. Again, it's nothing that I I felt so strongly about that I'm gonna argue, for whether or not I just thought I thought it was a fun question to kind of kick
Yeah.
off our thoughts on other players. And as I said before, and I know Ryan started getting into this last month
Oh man,
and a
I'm
half,
having
2
your audio.
months.
Oh wait, hold
What?
on. Never mind. You're good. You're good. Go on. It's my bad. My bad. Yep. Technical issues here, ladies and gents. Go for it.
And I know it's something you've kind of gotten into the last month and a half, 2 months. But I mean, I'm gonna kind of give you guys, or we are gonna kind of give you guys, kind of thoughts on just some players, nothing very specific, but just like guys we like, guys we don't like. And I mean, and this is a conversation me, Ryan, and Matt have had again over the past week or so. But I am really, really, really getting sick and tired of the Trayvon Walker talking number one and number two. I think Trayvon Walker is a good player, absolutely, and I've kind of come off this hill a little bit, but I still don't like that talk. It makes no sense. How is a guy that's going to get drafted for his potential going number one or number two overall? Meanwhile, he didn't have a lot of pass rushing snaps, but he didn't put up a lot of pass rushing numbers. His pass rushing, it still needs to heavily be developed. And like, again, the only reason we're like, this guy is number two is because of his potential, but his technique isn't there. And we're talking about him going number one and number two. Meanwhile, at the time, his name was Jason Owe. He changed his name to Adafe Owe. Last year, he got picked at 31. And he got picked at 31 for his potential. And the dude put up better stats in every single category when it came to athletic testing than he did, I think, besides the 3-cone or something, where it was like an inch or like a half a second difference or something like that. Meanwhile, Jason or Adafe Owe is putting up like better stats than this guy, going 31 overall. And how is a dude with better stats going to be going 31 overall for his potential? Meanwhile, Trayvon Walker is going to be picked number 2 overall. And this isn't to poop on Trayvon Walker. I think Trayvon Walker should go in the top 10. But him going number 2 overall is just, it's crazy to me. His pass rushing, like it seems like he goes into the snap, does not have a pass rush plan. He doesn't have a bend. I mean, he has okay like moves, but he's not bendy, and it kind of just seems like he's just running in there. I need to see something out of him for me to firmly believe that he can be a pass rusher, and I think he can get there. But for you to just take him at number 2 for his athletic testing numbers is absolutely insane to me, and it drives me off the walls.
Okay.
I was definitely a lot higher, or not higher. I definitely had more of an opinion on this. But then you look at the Georgia scheme. The Georgia scheme doesn't really allow for a lot of sack production. Really, nobody on that defensive line had a lot of sack production, so that's why I've come down a little bit. But again, like, you watch his film, he doesn't. The only thing that has me like holding on to him being a good pass rusher is athletic numbers, and it's you're taking a big risk by taking some dude because of athletic numbers. I think it's important to scout traits. And as of right now, he doesn't have the best traits to become. I don't know. His bend isn't there, and I don't like his plan. But I don't know. I'd love to hear your guys' opinion on that. He's firmly my edge 2 or 3, or firmly my edge 3 or 4. He's not. I would not touch him at number 1 or 2.
Matt, I'm going to go ahead and let you take the floor here.
The Owe comp is weird to me. I get it. I get Owe was a better athlete, better numbers, but Trayvon Walker is 30 pounds heavier. You know what I'm saying? Like, I understand it. I've been the one that fights you on this And it's not even like I'm a big Trayvon Walker guy. It's just justifying it. Like I know I've seen it. I see what NFL teams value, and his athletics is just so off the charts. Like every year, it feels like maybe not every year, but every few years you get that bump. That one guy bumps the needle, and he's kind of that guy. 4.5 speed, 270. It can move, but you look at his tape, and we all value tape here. Like it's just he was primarily just a contain rusher. He was in on rundowns and he contained the quarterback, and that's so basic. But it's like you got to start somewhere, and I think if you're the Jaguars, if you're the Lions, if you're the Jets, if you believe in your coaching staff to really, I'm going to show this guy how to convert his speed into power. I'm going to show this guy how to use his hands correctly and make that right move. It's just, I'm not saying I would draft him top 5, but I'm justifying why he should and why he will is because being off the charts there's a reason he should go that high because he's off the charts.
Yeah.
For me, let me just share my little piece that I do here that I do have here. I don't know if I've seen a player jump so high so quick in recent memory. And so for me to watch players like Aiden Hutchinson perform how he did at the scouting combine, I mean, being able to see it in the flesh was actually a huge help too. I think that was really cool. But ultimately, I really do feel like, just seeing Aiden Hutchinson move, I feel like he's just such a guaranteed number 1 overall pick for me. It's such a, blatant, obvious decision for me. And if not, it's going to be one of the 2 top offensive tackles to me. I don't think, Thibodeau is going to make it in the top 3 for whatever reason. If not, then he will be number 3. But I don't know. I guess I'm not buying into the hype. So that's, yeah.
Yeah, and to put this to kind of bed, to not lay on it for too long, I think he'll be a fine player. And like you were saying, Matt, I mean, the pounds he has on Oway obviously is a big difference because I think it allows him to be able to kind of push into that D tackle role on a pass rushing down if a team that drafts him has 2 already solid ends. Again, and again, I understand you have to start somewhere, but if I'm picking at 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, I'm picking at 1, 2 or 3 or 4 for a reason. I need to be picking a guy that I am confident that can come in right now and make an impact on my team. And do I think Trayvon Walker 2, 3, 4 years from now is going to be able to do that? Yes. But I don't think he's going to be able to come in right now, year 1, and make an impact. I mean, he can make an impact as a nice edge setting defensive end, but my impact that I want from my top 5 first round pick year 1, I don't want to be an edge setting defensive end. But again, like you said, I understand why people like him. I just wouldn't touch him.
I would touch him. I just wouldn't touch him that early.
Yeah, I wouldn't touch him in top 5.
In a non-weird way, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I wouldn't touch him top 5. I think the range I like him is 9 to Seattle, 8 to 8 to the Falcons. Like that's a range I think I would be more comfortable kind of picking him at. And this might come back and bite me in the butt 2 or 3 years from now. I mean, everybody misses, but I mean, I'm gonna be honest, that's just how I feel. But I mean, to a different Georgia player, I have two more guys that I'm lower on, and then from here on out, I'm gonna talk happy people. But I just want to get it out of the way. Going into this draft cycle at the start of the year, or at the start of the kind of the draft cycle, it was kind of 1A, 1B when it came to linebackers, when it was Devin Lloyd and Nakobe Dean. And not to just trash on these Georgia players, but I'm also following on Nakobe Dean as well. And I think I think there is something to say about him being the best defender on the best defense in college. I think that's important to mention. But as far as just as a prospect, he concerns me. And I think he's probably my LB3 now. Behind Leo Chenal, which I'm sure Matt would love to hear that. I kind of like, I wouldn't say on the Leo Chenal hype train, but I like Leo now. But as for Dean, his zone coverage ability just isn't there. The dude doesn't know how to cover in zone. And then as far as his run ability, I think that was kind of where he made a lot of his bread and butter, and he has the instincts and he has the football knowledge. But with him being such a small player, you add on top of the fact he has short arms, I'm very scared about his ability to be able to shed off of blocks when he's going up against, let's say another guy in the draft, Zion Johnson. If Zion Johnson pulling around to get the middle linebacker and Nakobe Dean, I have no doubt in my mind that Nakobe Dean is getting washed out of the play. Meanwhile, I think a guy like Devin Lloyd could put up a fight because he has longer arms to be able to shed that block. He's more physical. He's bigger. So Nakobe Dean, his run stopping ability concerns me at the next level. His zone coverage concerns me at the next level. And then you add on top of the fact he's already a smaller guy. Again, I would not want to take him in the first round. And again, I think he'll be a solid football player. Like I said, he has the football knowledge. He has the instinct. He's a really smart guy. So I think he'll have a good, solid, 8, 9, 10 career, or 8, 9, 10 year career. But I don't ever think he's going to be a top of his position guy. And again, if I'm drafting somebody in the first round, I'm drafting them with the hopes that maybe one day they can be that.
All right, Matt.
I've told you how I feel about Nakobe Dean. I'm really set on his leadership and being that heart and soul of the Georgia defense. That was one of the greatest of all time. The thing about Nakobe Dean is that, he beat out Monty Rice, who was an NFL linebacker as a sophomore. He beat him out. And I think it's just I was big on the undersized thing going into the combine, but then once he did all his measurables, he had I think it's a 6'4" wingspan. So that's good enough for the NFL. Devin Lloyd is 6'9", but we'll get to that. I think Nakobe Dean, he has intangibles that work for the NFL. I think his leadership, his run stuffing ability is a lot. I think you're setting him up for failure if you're talking about Zion Johnson. But I think it's just he's not like a 4-3 middle linebacker. He's not that field general guy who's gonna really show off his lateral quickness, but in zone coverage. But if you put him in that, he's a dime backer, I think he can really show off. Nickel defenses are ruling the NFL. So there's not too many times you're gonna have the 4-3 or 3-4 on the field, but I think he's worth being on the field. And I've said it before. I think if the Texans can trade out of 13 and trade down a little bit and get Nakobe Dean, someone who's going to be a heart and soul for Lovie Smith. Lovie Smith, he loved the heart and soul Brian Urlacher for so many years. I don't want to compare the two, but he has a type at that middle linebacker position. So, it's just he's really fallen off during this process, and I think it's because he didn't test at the combine. I think we all wanted to just see him show off his athletic traits.
I guess let me hit. I'm sorry to interrupt. My biggest confusion is why people don't want to perform at the scouting combine.
Because they are scared to test bad. And again, he didn't. Well, I think he was also facing an injury. If I'm wrong, Matt, you can correct me. I think he had like a hamstring or something. But they're scared.
It was small. It was a small thing.
Well, that's the thing though. So I mean, that's like player specific though. When you talk about like players that are scared to perform bad, it's like, what's the point of even saying like you're going into the NFL draft or whatever if you can't perform at a scouting combine? If I'm a like general manager, how can I trust you to lead a franchise specifically? Let's say if you're a defensive player, like how could I expect you to go the length as to perform on the field when you can't even come in and perform in the scouting combine? You know what I mean? Like I feel like that's just a red flag.
I'm going to push back a little bit on that. The reason they don't perform has nothing to do with like that they the reason they don't perform is because they want to be drafted high. Let's say we have let's say George Karlaftis, for example. George Karlaftis is coming in as edge at the time, edge 6 because David Ojabo was hurt. If George Karlaftis comes out and runs a 4.2, he's falling. He's dropping, and he's doing that as a personal business decision for himself. Because if he comes out and he runs not a 4.2, a 5.2, not that he would. I'm just, again, it's a hypothetical. If he came out and ran a 5.2, he's no longer edge 6. He could be edge 7, edge 8, edge 9.
So
I mean, look at Kyle Hamilton. Kyle Hamilton is someone that I think.
Look at David Bell.
Orlando Brown. Look at Orlando Brown. Orlando Brown's a perfect dude. Came out and at the start of the process, dude was tackle 1, tackle 2, tackle 3, and came in and ran like an awful 40 time. I can't even remember what it was.
The worst ever. I think it was like 6.3.
Yeah. Jeez.
I mean, just like a terrible 40 time, and he dropped to the 4th round.
Yeah.
And he was offensive tackle 1 and dropped to the 4th round because he had a bad testing day. That's why guys won't come out and test. And that's my point. Nakobe Dean didn't test. And he didn't run the 40, I don't think, either at his pro day either. So I'm kind of concerned about his speed, but that kind of goes to coverage. But again, like you said, his leadership, I think, is there, absolutely. And I think that's how he's going to make his career. So it'll be interesting to see how NFL teams value him.
Okay. So are you wanting to move on to the next segment?
Yeah. And I got one more guy. I don't want to say poo-poo on him because I like him. And I know this is something I think me and Matt have also disagreed upon. I am not for the Chris Olave. Like, people are saying Chris Olave at 10. Like, I don't like that at all. It's not that I have any gripes against Chris Olave. I think Chris Olave is a fine player, and he should absolutely go in the first round. But if a guy like Jamison Williams is on the board, if a guy like Garrett Wilson is on the board, I'm willing to even say Drake London. But I mean, Drake London and tests in the 40s, so that should tell you something. But if a guy like Jamison or Garrett Wilson are on the board and you take a guy like Chris Olave instead, I think you're just stupid. I'm sorry. And I know Matt has an opinion on this for his Saints. But I see mocks where people have him going before those two guys. And I don't see it. I mean, Jamison Williams could be such a special player. And if he didn't tear his ACL, I have no doubt in my mind that he would have absolutely been the consensus number 1 wide receiver. And a guy like Garrett Wilson, and I don't think I've seen this comp, but I think Garrett Wilson could be like a high-end, like Robert Woods. I mean, the dude can ball. The dude is good at everything. I think you would be greatly mistaken to take Chris Olave above those two guys, and then I could make an argument for Garrett Wilson or for Drake London. But
sorry, Mike was muted. Anyway,
yep.
So I definitely have something to say, but I want to give our guest a second, in the spotlight as well. So Matt, what do you have to say about your wide receivers or whatever?
Like specifically Chris Olave, I guess. I think it's just his low floor is really what is intriguing about him. I agree with you that him going to the Jets or the Commanders at 10 or 11 is ridiculous if you see a guy like Garrett Wilson or Jamison Williams on the board. But I think we're gonna get a run. We're gonna get a run on Thursday, and because there's a lot of good talent that you just look at and you say that's a first round guy, and wide receiver is 3 wide receiver sets are so common in this league that I think I could see a world where the Giants could trade back into the first round, even because of the Kadarius Toney thing. The Jets could trade back into it. The Chiefs have 2 first-round picks. They could go up and get someone. So I think we're going to see a run on receivers on Thursday. But like just talking about Olave, I mean, it's just he's a low-floor player, and teams who want to win, want that. And I think it's just that's it. That's really the basis of it.
I will say, yeah, no, I definitely think this is a strong wide receiver class. There's not too many players that I would say my stock is going up or down on, except for maybe Jamison Williams. I feel like he could be taken within the top 10 easily. If you look at players like you guys have said, Chris Olave, a lot of people are saying that his stock is falling. For me, I've always seen him as that mid to late round, first round guy. You're looking at maybe the Eagles or the Saints, even just to say, a couple that might need a wide receiver. I don't see him falling past the Jets in the second round. Just because, I mean, there's a lot of different things that teams could do with that first round pick. I do think that Chris Olave could go in the second round. It wouldn't shock me, I guess. You know what I mean? I would say personally he's going in the first round though, just to say, play it safe. I am extremely biased towards Chris Olave too, because I really like him, but I'll tell you this too, just because it's my luck. I could definitely see him falling out of the first round and me going to sleep after the stream and everything next Thursday, just being like, yes, like the Bears can get their guy in the second round. It's going to be okay. Fields and Olave are going to reunite in Chicago, and this is going to be the dream matchup that everybody wants. And then he'll get taken within the first couple picks. He might go to Detroit or something like that just to bulk up an offense. The thing is, though, is that there are plenty of different options that are way better than Chris Olave, at least stock-wise, right now, that, could go up and down over time, but you're looking at it right now, and I definitely think, I'd still project him to go mid to late first round, at the highest, and then mid, let's say mid second round at the latest. But we are getting a comment in from Too Sweet Kyle Gagliardi, Olave to Green Bay, and that is a nightmare scenario for me. But I don't know if you guys want to react.
And that was kind of my point. You were saying you wouldn't be shocked if he fell to the second. I would be flabbergasted if he fell to the second. I think there's, and to his point, I think there's no way he gets past the Packers. I would be flabbergasted.
I'm telling you.
No, Jahan Dotson is not as good as Chris Olave is on a completely different level than what Jahan Dotson is. I'm sorry.
Oh, right.
Well, I have a stat for you guys about Jahan Dotson, like just a Packers stat in general.
Yeah.
The Packers in the Gutekunst era have drafted one receiver sub 195 pounds, and that was Trevor Davis, and he was drafted as a return specialist.
When was the last time they drafted a wide receiver in the first round, though?
I think it was like 2002.
Yeah.
It was before the Rodgers pick. I know that.
I will say this, though. I think Olave's gone before Green Bay picks.
Yeah, he's too good. He's there's no way he's not the third or fourth wide receiver taken. Again, I'm not on the train for him going 1 or 2. Again, I think Jamison is better. I think Garrett Wilson is better, but I think there's, like Matt said, there's going to be a run. I would be surprised if he gets past like pick 20. Like he's there's no way he gets to the second round. I would be shocked if he gets to the Packers, but I think the Packers is the final spot he's going to get taken. If he's there at the Packers, there's no way he gets past there.
Yeah.
So.
As far as what I'm looking at, this would be crazy. In my eyes, looking at number 21 to the Patriots, I think it would be really interesting to see Olave go and play for Bill Belichick and play with Mac Jones. I think that would be a good pairing just because of how speedy Chris Olave is. I as much as Green Bay needs the wide receiver, they do have 2 first-round picks, just 5 picks apart. So I think if Olave falls, like, sure, I could see him going 22 to Green Bay. If not, then I think that you're looking at other options if you're Green Bay and then hoping that somebody falls to 28. And with that being said, Jahan Dotson, since day one, I'm telling you guys, Jahan Dotson is a Packer. Okay. He fits the bill and everything is as far as my eyes can see, as far as like, basically, as a Bears fan, you watch a lot of Packers football just hoping for their downfall at some point. And it's just, after going to the scouting combine and everything, you watch this guy play and you're just like, everything about him just kind of matches exactly what Aaron Rodgers could want. So that's why I'm saying Jahan Dotson is going to the Packers at, say, 28.
Yeah. As for the other wide receiver, and I know I teased this to Matt a little bit. This is a guy, ironically, I was a little bit lower on going into this process, but after watching him, again, there's no news. This is complete speculation. I'd be surprised if George Pickens gets past the Chiefs at 30. I love George Pickens. He's my third favorite. I'm not saying he's the third best. But I love George Pickens, and I think if the Chiefs are there and he's still on the board, they should absolutely get George Pickens. I think if he played this entire year, he would have, I think, easily been the second or third best wide receiver in this entire class. The only reason he's not is because he missed the majority of this year. But if we go back to look at him the year prior, dude was elite. The dude could come out of this draft class and we could say how did he not get picked higher? And I think the only reason is because of, again, his injury, and he missed this entire year. I've really been on the George Pickens hype train recently. I think he has the ability to be a very, very good wide receiver for the next, 10 years. And real quick, a guy I don't want to spend too much time on, but a guy I really like too, and I could see him going the back end of the second round, is Alec Pierce. I love Alec Pierce. He's a kind of a height, weight, speed guy. He's 6'3". He ran a pretty fast 40. I like him a lot too. But
yeah, as far as, oh man, no, I definitely agree. And that would be one of those options that I think could go late first round as well. Just as one of those people that, like you said, their stock is rising. But, I've seen a lot of mock drafts going to Chicago, which would be cool. But I don't know. Matt, what are your thoughts on him?
On Pickens?
Yeah.
I've said it. I think he's definitely a first round guy. I think he does everything you want in this league. He's got good size, good build, good frame. He's a great run blocker too. I think that's something underrated about him. So it really gives him that true outside separation from other guys. But yeah, he's just that basic wide receiver, and basic. If you could build one in a lab, you're gonna get 6'3", 205, strong, powerful at the catch point, and create separation. And I think he's just, if he didn't have the injury, we would see a lot more of him, and he would be in the talks of Jamison Williams and Garrett Wilson easily, to me, no doubt.
Yeah.
I can see it. I think for me, Pickens is one of those big guys that, can get it done. He's not by any means a Jamison Williams in the first round right now. But I overall, I mean, I'd be excited if we draft any receiver, in all honesty. But I mean, if he falls to Chicago, I'd be ecstatic, but I would definitely I definitely wouldn't be shocked if he goes a little bit earlier. Like I said, end of the first round. That's where I put him.
Any other wide receiver? I'm gonna open it up a little bit before we kind of move on to the next position. But any other wide receivers you two? Any other wide receivers that you two feel like it's worth touching on? Either steals or guys you guys think are slept on a little bit before I move on?
Just before I bring up the one that I want to talk about, Kyle's saying that Pickens is going to be a stud, and he's a late first in his eyes. Who I want to talk about is somebody else whose stock has also been rising. Somebody who kind of stood out from the scouting combine is Skye Moore. He's a speedy option and everything. He's also one of those guys that I can see going first round. I think we heard that the Chiefs are pretty interested in him.
Yeah.
You could see him going in late first as well. But I can also see him going in the second too. But I do think that he's a very skilled wide receiver. And I think pairing him with Darnell Mooney would be cool, but of course, you can't mock up literally every wide receiver to Chicago. So that being said, Kansas City's a destination. You got to look at Green Bay just because they got to fill that hole somehow. But at the end of the day, I mean, Matt, what were your thoughts as far as seeing him at the scouting combine, and then where you think he'll fall as well?
I think Skye Moore is like just prototypical slot wide receiver, and I think that has a place in this NFL with the 3 receiver sets. And I think he's been impressive. He's only gone up. He is. I remember seeing him, second and third. He's day 2 guy, and he just slowly rises this board. And I think that he's made the case for, I think he's probably wide receiver 6, wide receiver 7 to me. I think he's just over Dotson because of his speed. But I think he's someone, like I said, I mean, I'm expecting a wide receiver run. So, I mean, he could be of that run to get into that that first round because, I mean, the Chiefs, I think he fits the Chiefs build, fast, get the ball in his hands.
Oh, yeah.
So, but yeah, I'm a fan. I mean, it's hard to knock any guy for me. I mean, I'm going to love nearly every single prospect. It's just the nature of the game.
I will say this because I thought about this earlier this week. I call it a bold take if you want, but I definitely think that wide receivers are going to go a lot quicker than people think. And it's going to be one of those things that I think is going to turn into almost like a panic mode type deal for teams. So you'll see teams potentially trading up for receivers, teams trading back for more trade capital or draft capital. I think Green Bay could very well be one of those teams that uses both of those draft picks to trade up to go and maybe get one of those, prime wide receivers after, they fall down a little bit, but definitely look out for a ton of them to fall or not fall, kind of get drafted a lot quicker. Yeah. I mean, just like you guys said, but I think panic mode is going to go into effect. I would say around picks 20 to 25 is when it's really going to set in. and maybe not Pittsburgh, but you know what I mean? Like there's going to be a lot of those teams that will pick these wide receivers, and that's when teams are going to just be like, holy crap, we got to get one of these guys before we can't fill the need anymore.
I think it could even start before that because I think the Jets are in play at 10. I think the Commanders are in play at 11. I think if we're playing best player available for the Texans, they're in play if a guy like Jamison is still there. The Eagles are in play. The Chargers are in play. The Saints are in play. And those are all teams before pick 18-ish that are all in play to get a wide receiver. So I think to your point, I think it could even happen even before that. So I think it'd be interesting to see how the board falls. A guy I've been a little lower on is David Bell, but I mean, if this run starts happening a little bit quicker, maybe we could see David Bell. I mean, mid-second round. I'm not a big David Bell guy.
I don't think anybody is.
Well, I think his lack of quickness and speed concerns me about his ability to get separation at the next level. But I mean, he was consistent. I mean, he was able to do that in college despite all that. So I think it'll be interesting. I think he's technically sound. It's just lacking physical ability in the speed and quickness department. But
really quick, just because I mean, you basically summed up David Bell. Can we just go around and give our predictions as to when he will be drafted before it actually, goes or comes to fruition?
Late second, early third.
All right, Matt, what you got?
I think he's a third round guy.
Yeah.
Really? Okay, I'm gonna say mid to late second.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah, I agree. But I mean, moving to the flip side of this, to the flip side of the ball, the cornerback position is really interesting because I think we, at least in the eyes of the public, there are two top guys. But then in the second, third, fourth round, we kind of have these guys that haven't really put up like this amazing game tape, but have the physical profile with the height and the weight and the speed to really get drafted high. Again, like a guy that I've been high on before the draft even started, Tyrek Woolen. I mean, he's 6'4". I think he ran like a 4.3 or 4.4 at the combine, and teams are gonna really value that. And I know there's another guy Matt likes out of Sam Houston State that is kind of in the same vein as Tyrek Woolen. Do you want to talk a little more about him, Matt?
Yeah, Zion McCollum is just a freaky athlete. He's a freak on the football field, and I think it's just he tested 10 out of 10 on the RAS score, so number 1 at corner, and he comes in with, like, when you watch the combine, you watch those little parts, the flip of the hips. He is fluid in movements, and I've seen very limited film because Sam Houston State, it's hard to get stuff on, but like when he jams guys at the line, he's strong. He lacks what to do with his hands at the line of scrimmage. So I mean, if you put him in an off-man scheme or you put him in a zone scheme, he's gonna thrive. He's just not a Sauce Gardner or Derek Stingley press man. I'm gonna press you at the line and I'm gonna beat you there and you're done for. So I mean, but he has a place in the NFL easily, and he's going to go a lot higher than people expect because of just he's a freak on the football field and he's going to make plays.
He's one of those guys to me that'll really sneak up on you. He kind of flies under the radar a little bit in terms of, publicity, but, Tyrek Woolen is one of those guys that I just feel like, whoever's going to get him is going to get that stud. Like you guys said, he's a freak on the field. And honestly, I mean, I've done a little bit of research given the fact that Chicago's secondary is pretty lacking. But, he's one of those guys that I definitely wouldn't mind having in, like, say, the second round, but I would not be surprised if he goes late first, early second, like you guys said.
And as for Zion, real quick too, Again, Matt kind of pointed out the kind of athlete he is too, but I think it's important to note that he is a smart guy, and I think his senior year at Sam Houston State, he was also voted as a captain. So not only does he have this physical upside that me and Matt touched on, he also has kind of the smarts and the leadership as well. And I don't know much about his intangibles, but from the outside perspective, as a guy who was a captain, it kind of looks that he also has that as well. And then for me, two kind of sleeper guys that I kind of really like is Joshua Williams. I'm gonna butcher. I think Fayetteville, I think is how you pronounce it. Really small college. But I like him. He's kind of in the same vein as a Tyrek Woolen, Zion McCollum when it comes to size. I don't know what he tested for the 40 because he wasn't at the combine, I don't think. I could be wrong, but I think I missed him if he was. But he's tall. He's 6'3". But again, his concern is he played at Fayetteville or however you pronounce it. And then another guy that I'm kind of I wouldn't say concerned, but kind of confused as to why he's not getting more hype is Jalen Armour-Davis out of Alabama. We've seen, these Alabama guys go off the board like that in Patrick Surtains and Marlon Humphreys a few years ago. And Jalen Armour-Davis put up I wouldn't say clamps, but he did a very, very good job at corner. And I don't think he's getting talked about. I think right now he's probably going to go in the late third, early fourth, fifth range. And I think any team that can get him in the fourth round is going to get an absolute steal. I think this guy can be really good. But I don't know if you guys can tell, but I'm sure you two can. I kind of have a type with Melifanu last year with the tall guy, with Tyrek Woolen, with Zion. So I kind of have a type when it comes to cornerbacks, but I'm just a little shocked Armour-Davis isn't getting as much kind of hype as he is. But I don't know how much you guys know about Armour-Davis or Joshua Williams.
Matt probably does. I can't say I have done a lot of research on him. But Matt, you could probably hint on that.
I mean, you don't have to hear much about them to know they're. I mean, when Ben talks about a corner, I know big, long, physical. That's what it is. And these guys again just fit the bill. And yeah, Joshua Williams was at the combine. I remember seeing him. I think he ran like low 4.5. So I mean, like just a basic speed. But it's just being touching on Armour-Davis. I mean, playing SEC competition every week, I think that I have value in that. I don't know about. I think You guys have value in that too. Is that like going against those great players time in, time out? I think it has value and it adds meaningful reps on tape. When say there was a clip like the Derek Stingley and Jamar Chase. Say there was a clip of him getting Devontae Smith last year during the Heisman season. Imagine that popped off. That would really get his stock going. But yeah, I value the same traits you do in corner, Ben, and I understand it.
Yeah. Any more quarterbacks you guys, sleepers, guys you guys are a little bit higher on than the rest?
Not necessarily. I mean, I guess Cair Elam is one of those guys that I'd like to kind of just note, like, hey, I kind of like this guy. I mean, we don't necessarily have to dive in too deep, except for the fact that, he's a ball hawk and I like him. But, other than that, unless you guys want to touch on him a little bit, but,
For those who don't go for it.
I don't know if you're talking about Cair Elam, but one that I'm valuing is corner of the year, Kobe Bryant. I mean, that's like someone too. who is slowly dipped down. I mean, like he got more action than Sauce, but I think he again shows those traits that Sauce had. Just he's not as big, he's not as fast. There's a reason he's second rounder, but he's fast enough, strong enough, and at and values that press man that him and Sauce both mastered at Cincinnati. You saw this year.
Yeah, I mean, he won cornerback of the year for a reason.
Yeah.
So, for Elam, real quick, cornerback went to Florida. Again, you value the SEC competition that he played. And for him, it's more of traits. I'm pretty sure he's 6'2". He's lengthy. His consistency is kind of a concern. How, one game he can go between like locking somebody down and putting clamps on them, and then turn around and have some random dude you've never heard before put up 150 yards and 2 touchdowns on him. So, I mean, if you can go somewhere and learn how to be consistent, again, I mean, look at a team, suppose the Bills, where you can learn from a guy like Trey White and stuff. I think he could definitely make a name for himself.
Okay. And then I think we're good to move on to the next segment.
Yeah. As for the other position back there, in the secondary for safety, there's one guy I'm really high on. There's not a lot of people talking about him, and it drives me crazy. He's a safety from Baylor, but it's not the safety from Baylor that you think. I think Jalen Petrie is fine, but JT Woods, I mean, this dude's projected to go in like the 4th or 5th round, and he absolutely should not. He should be going way higher. He has the ball production. He's long. He's lengthy. I mean, really, his only concern is like his physicality, and you have questions about his physicality, kind of at the catch point. But I'm not too worried about it. The dude, I think, had 6 interceptions or something this year, 5 or 6. So obviously, the dude's doing something right. His run defense is a little iffy, so I think it really depends on where you're playing him, and if he is your last line of defense against a run game, you're kind of putting him in a situation probably not the best for you or your team, or him or your team. But I mean, if you have this dude, I mean, back at safety, I mean, literally flying from sideline to sideline, he has the track speed. Again, he's lengthy, he has the production. I mean, again, if you have him back there, I think, let him learn a little bit, and I think he could really be a boom or bust prospect. I really like him. My comp for him is a Rasul Douglas, but at safety, and a little bit faster. It's a weird comp, but I mean, we saw with Rasul Douglas, dude's long, he's a ball hawk, he gets the interceptions. That's who JT Woods is. I think you stick it back there. He's just a faster Rasul Douglas at safety.
Okay. Matt, you got anything to touch on before we move on a little bit farther?
I guess just to touch on JT Woods, I mean, he's, again, fits the bill, long, physical, long, but not physical.
Yep.
I think he's just, he is a true center fielder. And I think that's his only value. I think that's why he's really like falling. He is a free safety. That is what he is going to be. And I think he at times could be a liability in the run game. And I think that's probably why his stock isn't as high as it can be. And looking around at all those Baylor DBs, Kalen Barnes, of course, running that super fast 40. Jalen Petrie, again, running fast. So, I mean, his speed isn't, standing out next to these guys. But yeah, I think he's where he's being mocked, I think is fair.
All right.
Any safeties you guys, real quick, I think Nick Cross, safety out of Maryland, is an interesting name. I think he's literally just a Darnell Savage light. But any other safeties real quick before we move on to the weird quarterback prospect I like? All right. So I just real quick to run through it. One guy I mentioned at the combine, and a guy I really liked. Again, this guy should not be taken before round 6. I think he's a 7th round developmental guy, priority free agent. But it's quarterback Cole Kelly out of Southeastern Louisiana University. He's a prototypical big 6'7" with a huge arm. he transferred from Arkansas State. I don't know if that, or he transferred from Arkansas. I don't know what the situation there was, but I mean, he obviously lit it up as he should in Southeastern Louisiana. He won kind of like the Heisman of that division. And again, I think if he can kind of learn behind somebody, he could be a really good ball slinging backup. Obviously, these guys, I mean, you can't ever say that these guys are going to be great if you're drafting in the 7th round, but I mean, again, you go for traits at that point, and he has the size and the arm for it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't know, Matt. What do you have for that one?
I've known Ben's been on this guy since the combine. I mean, like, I think you could maybe make a case there's value in him, and if he goes undrafted, I think there's value. I'm not sitting here saying I'm gonna draft him to be, he's the next Tom Brady. I mean, he's gonna go 199th overall. But like, I don't know. I see the value in him. He's tall. He can throw the ball a mile, and that's, he has issues as every 7th round quarterback does.
Yeah,
definitely
exactly.
Project. Yeah.
Any real quick, any late round quarterback prospects for anybody?
Not that I can think of, no.
Okay, there you go. And then the last guy, and kind of as a point I want to kind of make as a whole, but a guy that I've kind of caught on kind of really late, and I kind of not in the business of shouting out people on the podcast, but if you guys haven't watched Brett Coleman, he's a kind of film creator on YouTube, and he does draft and stuff, and he covers that, and he's pretty well known. He kind of released his O-line rankings, and I thought it was really interesting, so I did a little bit more digging into him. But there's an offensive tackle. His name is Zach Tom, and I think this guy could go higher than what people think. I mean, if this guy sneaks in to the 2nd round, I would not be at all surprised. I mean, he's literally like he is. He's Charles Cross light. I mean, he's the pass protecting guy. He's a little bit smaller, so it concerns you a little bit. But he has quick feet and has a really good punch, first punch, so he can really move people. Again, he's literally just a Nick Cross light. So Charles Cross light. So if you like Charles Cross in the 1st round, I mean, I don't think you should be scared to draft this guy in late day 2, or late round 2 or early round 3. But kind of as a point for this offensive line class, I don't think this and it happens all the time, I don't think this offensive line class is going to go anywhere near as what we project it to be. I think very clearly it's Evan Neal, Ickey, and Cross. And then kind of a step back, it's Penning and Ryman and everything like that. Throw Smith in there. But I don't think these linemen are going to come off the board the way we think. I think it'll be really interesting to kind of see how these guys come off the board, because I think it would like really shock some people how early some guys go, how later other guys go, and some names that we kind of don't know might sneak into spots that we'd be shocked.
Yeah, I mean, I guess for me, my biggest concern is just the Bears find somebody that can fill the hole. I mean, we all saw how bad the Bears' offensive line was, so it's obviously a need. It's one of those things where like the Bears could potentially trade back to get more of these guys to fill more holes at once. They've made it a clear thing that they're going to rebuild kind of through the draft as well. So you saying that the offensive line prospects aren't necessarily extremely high, or like it shouldn't be, as almost like overrated is how I read it.
No, I just meant like I don't think they're going to come off the order that we project them to. I think the media has a very specific order on how we think these guys are coming off the board. And again, it has nothing to do with how bad these guys are. I just think that the order that they're going to come off the board is not what we think as kind of the media as a whole I don't think these prospects are going to come off the way that we think they are. It has nothing to do with their talent. I think the talent's fine. I think the top tier guys are good. I think this is kind of the meat and potatoes of the draft. I actually really like this line class. I just don't think it's going to be the order that we think.
Okay. Well, that's more fair then. In terms of that though, I can see Chicago drafting, an offensive lineman with that second round pick. I'm not necessarily too familiar with who can be available then, just because every year there's going to be somebody that falls a little bit farther than they should have. For example, the guy that Chicago drafted just this last year, I forget his name. Tevin Jenkins. Yeah. He was one of those players that's like, how did Chicago get him in the second round? Like, that's huge. So there's bound to be that guy in the draft, but it's all just a matter of who. And I think, maybe not Chicago specifically, but a team should probably luck out on an offensive lineman in the second round that shouldn't be there. Because look at our mock drafts if you haven't already. You'll see we've put a lot of different players in positions that we're like, oh crap, we kind of forgot about him. So it's like one player's bound to fall, and it's not based off of our mock draft, but just strictly just how the pieces fall. Matt, what's your opinion on the offensive line?
A guy I like is out of Tulsa, Tyler Smith. He's one who has risen up boards. Like, I remember Daniel Jeremiah was one of the first guys on him and then sent him back down. I don't understand why. I think he's a 21-year-old at a small school, and he oozes the potential, to be a great guy. He has really good size, and he just has great intangibles, good with his hands, good feet. Just basic things, and I think because he's that young, you can get a real chance to mold him. And another guy I like is Jamari Slater out of Georgia as an interior, like just starting day one. I think there's very, very good value in him for a team to get him in, a day two kind of scenario where, hey, I need a plug and play guard. I think the team that I circle is the Bucks. I think they could easily take a guard in day two and not use a premium pick in the first round on a guard and get Slater in the second and really have him mold out their offensive line. But yeah, those are two guys I like to touch on.
Yeah, to just kind of wrap a bow on the end of this before we move on to the next segment. Realistically, I think a lot of these, and Jamari is one of them. I think a lot of the tackles that are kind of coming into this are probably going to end up kind of converting to guard because he did play tackle in college. He projects better as a guard, and I think that's probably where a lot of these guards are going to come from this draft are converts to from tackle to guard. But hot take time, guys.
Let's do it. All right. So Ben, you said that you had some bold takes for us this week, and you know how we always do it. We don't necessarily share it with everybody. So you're getting our raw reactions if you guys are new around here. Ben, I want to start off, and I'm not expecting Matt to necessarily have them just because he's a guest. If he has some bold takes, I'd love to hear them. But Ben, I'm kind of banking off of you this week. Had a lot to do this week, so I personally don't have at least too many bold takes. But Ben, I know you have some, so why don't you start us off?
Yeah, nice, because I have like 5 for you guys. I definitely could have had more, but I think I kind of stopped at 5. So we're gonna start it off pretty simple. I don't really know how bold this is, but I think the Panthers are not staying at 6. I think the Panthers are trading out. The only reason the Panthers are there at 6 is for an offensive lineman, and I don't think any of the top 3 guys are going to be there. So Panthers are not going to be picking at 6. As much as it pains me, I think Booth is going over McDuffie. I I think Burks is going to fall out of the first round. Treylon Burks. I think he's going out of the first round. I think this is a.
It's all good. So for those of you that don't know, Ben is on a college campus right now. So next week it will be a little bit different.
I'll be home,
But
yes.
he's got a couple things that are going on in the background that should totally just be noted, but not necessarily hated on. So we fully understand the situation, but continue.
I think a pick that literally nobody has been making, but I absolutely love it. I think Penning to the Ravens at 14. I think it's really, really high for him, but I think that is a pick nobody is talking about, and it's a pick we could absolutely see. And then the last one, I don't think Kenny Pickett is going in the first round.
All right, Matt, do you want to choose, or do you want me to choose as far as what bold take we can discuss?
You know which one it is. My cornerback 1, Trent McDuffie. I think I here's the thing. It's all about value. It's all about what do you value, and if you value that the man coverage ability of Andrew Booth over Trent McDuffie, I think that's you. But I'm gonna value Trent McDuffie's athletics a lot higher. And that's the thing. I think Trent McDuffie's floor is great slot cornerback, and his ceiling is, it could be a top 5 to 10 corner within a few years, just because of how instinctual he is, how smart teams have said he is, and he's the best corner in the draft to me.
I personally wouldn't take Booth over White, but I think, and this is really stupid, and I don't think they should, but I think teams really value the size, which is really weird because Booth is only like an inch and a half taller, but nobody's talking about that. But everybody is talking about how McDuffie is short and everything. But I mean, at his highest peak, dude could have absolutely for Trent McDuffie, dude. I think we could see a Jair Alexander or a Trey White out of him. And I think these guys should go to show that the size doesn't matter, but for some reason teams do consistently insist that size matters at cornerback, even after guys like Jair and Trey White come out. And again, I think teams just value the size of Booth over Trent, and that's why I think he gets picked before him, but I think they'd be stupid because, again, I think his ceiling is a Jair Alexander, Trey White.
All I want to say is I'm pretty positive I've made this move before in our mock drafts.
You have.
So if it happens, it happens, and I called it, and thank you. Anyway, I guess I have my bold take if you guys are ready to move on, unless Matt has any closing statements on that one. But if not, I have mine. That's kind of like Ben's quarterback game that we play.
Okay.
And I guess we can just discuss it afterwards. But are you guys ready to play, or do you guys have any other closing statements?
Sure. Well, let's go. Real quick, as for Treylon Burks, I'm even like slowly souring on him. Obviously, he has the size and speed, but I have concerns about his ability to play on the outside. He pretty much only strictly played in the slot at Arkansas, and his ability to create separation is concerning because I mean, if you look at him, a lot of his big plays come from him like receiving the ball in the open field and going, which is really awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But his ability to actually gain separation down the field as an outside wide receiver still kind of concerns me a little bit, and I don't know if his ability to do that at the next level, and I think he might only strictly be a big slot because, again, I don't know how his ability to create separation on the outside can actually happen. So I'm kind of slowly falling to the consensus on him as well.
All right, let's move on. I'm excited. I have it pulled up. So the game, right? And by the way, Aiden Colson has popped in the chat saying that he's late. He said he's sorry. He has to cover people's shifts. Totally okay, man. Thank you for tuning in.
Unbelievable.
So without further ado, though,
Hold on. Actually, since he's in here, I want to ask him a question. Aiden, we went over wide receivers earlier. You completely missed it. I was kind of really hoping you were going to be there for it. Is there a wide receiver that you think that the Packers should take in the first round? There's a couple guys we mentioned, like Chris Olave. I think that's like the farthest he's going to fall. We mentioned a guy like Pickens. So just real quick, as we're doing this game, I'd like to hear what your opinion is. But Ryan, sorry for cutting you off there.
Yeah, no, you're good. And I will totally post Aiden's comment in, once we get it, once we pull it up. But as for my game, we are going to be kind of naming off teams that are Super Bowl contenders standing right now before the draft, before I make my point. So are you guys ready?
Yeah.
I'm just gonna ask you guys a team, and I'll just need a yes or a no from both of you, and then we can either debate it on the spot or whatever. But all right, we're gonna go ahead and go. So starting off, the Packers. Do you guys think that there's no? Okay.
No.
At this moment, no.
All right. The Vikings.
No.
No.
Lions.
No.
No.
Bears.
No.
No.
Cowboys.
No.
Yes.
Really? Okay. We'll talk about that. Commanders.
No.
No.
Eagles.
No.
No.
Giants.
No.
Yeah, I know. Saints.
No.
Falcons.
No.
No.
Bucks.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Panthers.
No.
No.
Seahawks.
No.
No.
Rams.
Yes.
Yeah.
49ers.
No.
Yes.
No.
Cardinals.
No.
No.
All right. And now for the AFC. Ravens.
No.
No. No.
Steelers.
No.
No.
Come on, Pittsburgh. I'm just kidding. Nah. Browns.
Yes.
Yes.
Bengals.
No.
No.
All right. The Dolphins.
No.
No.
Aiden, we'll get to your comment after we're done with the teams. Patriots.
No.
No.
Jets.
No.
No.
Okay. Bills.
Yes.
Texans.
No.
Jaguars.
No.
No.
Just skip this division, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just.
Okay. All right. So
I'm
Colts and
not.
Titans are a no.
Yeah.
All right. Chargers.
Yes.
Yes.
Broncos.
Yes.
Yes.
Raiders.
Yes.
Chiefs.
Yes.
All right. So my point was that they're
That division's stacked as hell.
not just the division, but I think the AFC as a whole is stacked.
Yeah.
I think, and the fact is that there isn't a clear Super Bowl contender for the NFC, and I don't think that there's any chance that next season the NFC wins a Super Bowl in general. I don't think that any team that you guys have listed for the NFC, whether that was okay, so one of you guys said the Commanders,
No,
I think,
said
right? No?
Commanders.
You
No,
said no?
no.
Okay, I don't know why I wrote that down.
I said the Cowboys.
Cowboys, yep. Okay, so Cowboys, Bucks, 49ers, and Rams. So despite how stacked the Rams are, I'm seriously just not sold on him for whatever reason. I don't know what it is, but they're not Super Bowl contenders in my eyes. For the Buccaneers, look, Tom Brady's great and everything, but there's no way he's beating the Chargers, Broncos, Chiefs. I mean, just in that division, you can argue the Browns. Sorry, no. You have the 49ers, and it's like, yes, I guess standing put with Debo. No, you know what I mean? It's like, it's not happening, especially in Trey Lance's first year.
That's what I'm banking on. I'm banking on Trey Lance. I think Trey Lance has the upside and potential with a play caller like Kyle Shanahan. Again, and this is as the team right now. As the team right now, they have Debo. Obviously, it completely changes. They don't have Debo. But I think Trey Lance can really develop. I think his odds for MVP is like stupid. It's like really, really high, as it should. But like I'm like tempted to put like $5 down just on that. Because
right. All right. Ben, do you want to refresh us on what that question was before we go to Aiden's comment?
Timo. Your question?
No, your question to Aiden before we went to Bold Takes.
Oh, yeah. I asked Aiden, again, people who don't know Aiden, by the way, we went to high school with him. We played football. At one point in time, we were very, very close. I would consider him my mentor at one point in time. I definitely confided in him for a lot of different things. So we were pretty close at one point. I don't even think he's in here to hear this right now. But anyways, that's besides the point. He's a Green Bay Packers fan. We asked him what he thought or what he would want with the Packers pick. He said Chris Olave, no shocker there. And again, like we've aforementioned beforehand.
He isn't. To read the viewers or listeners the comment, Aiden says gonna have to go with Olave. He's a great route runner and can get separation when needed. Do I think he'll drop to us? I'm pretty sure he will if the Chiefs decide to pass on him. I think it would be a great fit to put him with the best quarterback in the league. And then he said Debo to Green Bay, and then he verified that he was in chat, and then he also said much love to Ben's comment. So yeah. I hate Olave to Green Bay.
That's if he's there. I don't even know. Again, like and I'm sure Matt, you can attest to this. I think there's a very, very real chance that if he's even on the board by the time the Saints pick, that he goes to the Saints. I mean, his fit in the Saints offense would be just, immaculate. I really think I have a hunch that he's going to be a Saint. But
okay. Matt, you have any input on that before I ask Aiden the question?
I wouldn't be mad at it. I mean, it's better than worst case scenario. You know, that's really that's my mindset going into the draft right now. Worst case scenario is trading up for any quarterback in this draft. That's worst case scenario. Anything other than that, I'm gonna be pretty happy with.
Further verifying the earlier comment that we made. Yeah. Aiden said, you also never know because the Packers haven't picked a wide receiver in the first round since 2002. Thanks for letting me rub that in just a little bit. No, really quick. I don't know how many episodes you've listened to or, how caught up you are. But, as far as my question to the viewer, which is also one of the things that I was really looking forward to for this episode alone, is being able to interact with people that listen. Aiden, what is your point of view and your take on Jahan Dotson? And, what do you think about him being a future Packer in my eyes? Because to me, it's set in stone. Write it down. Stamp it right out the draft card because he's falling to the Packers.
I wouldn't call it falling. If the Packers reached on him, if the Packers drafted Jahan Dotson, it would not be Jahan Dotson falling to the Packers. It would be the Packers reaching heavily on Jahan Dotson. There are so many better wide receivers I would much, much rather have than Jahan Dotson. and there's a Chris Olave, there's Pickens, there's Skye Moore. I mean, there's like Traylon Burks. If they pick Jahan Dotson, they should be sued for negligence. Okay, if those guys are still on the board, I'm sorry. Jahan Dotson's a fine player. He fits the scheme fine, but he's just not better than the guys I just named.
I'm telling you right now, it'll be a result of the run that the wide receivers will go on for the first round. By no means am I saying that Jahan Dotson is my wide receiver 1 for this draft. I'm just letting you know, as far as I think the second draft pick that the Packers are going to have, that's what they're going to use on Jahan Dotson. I am not sold on the idea that the Packers are going to be using the first round pick that they have on a wide receiver. In fact, I'm more so just thinking that it's going to be more so like a pass rusher, or an offensive lineman to try and help protect Aaron.
I think it'd be terrible.
There we go. All right. So Aiden responded to my question saying, I think it would be a terrible mistake doing that. I have never really been impressed with his play. And like Ben said, there are plenty of wide receivers that are better than him. The only thing keeping him alive was the combine.
Yeah.
I'm sold on him being a Packer. That's it.
I truly think in Aiden, I'd love to hear it before we move on, kind of get this show on the wraps. I think you guys should draft like Matt Corral or Kenny Pickett or something when you guys his first round pick.
Trade Jordan Love away.
Hey, I mean, if you can just piss off Aaron even more and he keeps continuing this play, I mean, sure, why not?
Yeah. Okay. So as far as the offseason meetings go, it just had to go like this, right? So Aaron's like, look, I'll sign an extension with you guys to make me a really, really rich man, but I want you guys to use a future first round pick on a quarterback to give me the spotlight again, because God, did I love it for so long.
Oh yeah, that's probably what happened behind the scenes.
Ooh, a little bold taken by the viewer himself. Love will be traded by draft day.
I would much rather have Love than there are 2 or 3 guys in this draft that I like above Love, and then everything else. I would agree. I think if I'm in the quarterback market, it's going to be cheaper for me to trade for Jordan Love than it would for me to get somebody to draft somebody. That being said, Matt, I'd kind of like to see your opinion on this. There's kind of a fit when it comes to quarterback that nobody is talking about, but I absolutely love. I think Carson Strong to the Bucks in like the 3rd round would be amazing.
That's insane. I was just thinking about that just the other day. I just thought about it because I think they gambled a lot of capital on Kyle Trask last year in the back half of the second. But like I was just thinking about it. I think he fits the bill for a Byron Leftwich scheme. I think he is, he's probably the best passer of this draft, but it's just, you just look at the
show us the hands.
No.
Yeah. What we're laughing about is Aiden has commented Matt's just mad that the Saints are picking Mr. Small Hands.
Not the hands, no.
This is basically just turned into a conversation between us and Aiden. But Aiden, it's funny that you say that because we were all at the combine and we saw Kenny Pickett, and Matt kept on screaming at Kenny Pickett about his small hands. So the show was perfectly timed.
I am a Kenny Pickett heckler.
Show us the hands, Pickett.
It's it is what it is.
Anyways,
but Carson Strong. Carson Strong. I think, like, watching him this year, he if we were at halfway point in the college season, he was my QB1. He was my QB1, and you just slowly see that knee go down, and when the knee got worse, he got worse. But like you said, I think he's clearly the best passer in this draft, and I think it's just who's going to gamble on the knee, who's gonna gamble on the knee, and I think the Bucs have the possibility to. I think they have the best chance of, like, if it doesn't succeed, that's okay. Just move
Yeah.
on. Move
Whatever.
often.
Again,
Aiden
yeah,
has
just
commented, gonna be a heckler for at least 4 more years.
yeah, because the Saints are
Nice.
going to draft him. Make it 5. But yeah, again, he can sit behind Tom Brady. He can let his knee heal. He can learn. And like I've told you guys off air, I don't think it's particularly close. Carson Strong is the best thrower of any quarterback. His arm is literally, you could argue it's better than Malik Willis, but at least it's up there with Malik Willis. And again, he's very accurate. At some point, I think he was throwing like 70% on balls across the line of scrimmage, which is like super, super high. I mean, that's what like Drew Brees was throwing when he had his like all-time seasons. I mean, he's the best thrower. He just needs to find a place where he can kind of like rehab and doesn't have to be the guy right away. So,
yeah. Well, guys, I think it's time to move on to our last segment of the day. This was a long, fun broadcast. But speaking of long and fun broadcasts, we got one coming up next week, Thursday. Just wanting to remind you guys, I think that, it'll be interesting to have a few people in here like Aiden, and Kyle, that were in here earlier, or that was in here earlier, and several more guests and stuff. I don't want to reveal too much, but without further ado, we are going to move on to Gridiron Goofs, which, by the way, Ben, we normally go, we kind of try to even it out as far as ideas go, and I'll have to credit you on this one. This one was a good idea. One that yeah, for sure. Guys, the NBA playoffs have arrived. Ben and I are Heat, and then the Sixers are doing phenomenal right now. 2-0 series lead against our opponents.
Thunder's fan.
Yeah, but I just want to say it's been a lot of fun watching the NBA playoffs, but that really inspired Ben to have the idea of what would happen if NBA players were drafted onto an NFL squad. So what we're doing is position by position drafts. We're not going to do like depth positions or anything like that. Strictly what we are doing is wide receivers, quarterback, offensive line, and running back for offense, and then D-line, safety, corner, and then linebacker for defense. So with 3 of us, I think that it's going to be really interesting to see how it plays out. Because I think it's going to be a different story for what it would be if it was just Ben and I. But we got a new comment. Has your guys' opinions changed on first quarterback drafted?
Yes, it'll be Malik Willis. Kenny Pickett will probably fall in the second round. Because if I'm drafting a quarterback that's day one ready, honestly, I think Desmond Ridder can offer day one. Like, he's not as day one ready as Kenny Pickett is, but he could be. I think his ability to come in right away is pretty close to Kenny Pickett's, Desmond Ridder's. But I think Desmond Ridder also offers a higher potential. If I'm taking a quarterback in the first round or the second round or early second round, I want the potential for him to be a top 5 quarterback in the NFL, and Kenny Pickett just does not offer that.
Right. And then back to the NBA topic, Aiden said that he's going to the Bulls-Bucks game for Sunday. That sounds like fun. Yeah. But without further ado, as I always say, let's move on to the draft. Guys, how do you guys want to figure out draft order? Because this will be fun.
Matt can go first, and we can snake it. I don't really care if you want to go second.
Let's say, okay, instead of snaking it, let's just go. All right, let's do Matt, Ben, then me, and then Matt, Ben, me, Matt, then just like that. That way, I'm okay with getting the short end of the stick, but it's okay. But Matt, let's get you on the board here, man. You're on the clock.
We should specify this is, you can do all time. It's any player to have ever played in the game, and you don't have to go quarterback, wide receiver, O-line, RB. You can do it in any position you want, and you can do any player you want. So.
All right, Matt, what you got for us?
With the first pick in the NBA NFL draft, I picked quarterback Chris Paul.
Oh,
Ooh.
okay. I was thinking he was going to be a second quarterback taken, but I'm not having my quarterback getting taken either. So we are taking Steve Nash.
Oh, geez. Okay.
Now, if we're thinking about this logically, I would just stay away from quarterback. Now you don't have to worry about taking a quarterback because nobody else is going to take a quarterback.
Yeah. No, that's my thing. It's all a matter of who I would pick next. Looking at things right now, I would say for offensive line, you know what? I'm gonna go defensive line here, and I'm gonna go with Joel Embiid for defensive line because I think that he can really get to the basket really well, and I think that with Joel Embiid getting to the basket and cutting through really well, I think that he can also cut through an offensive line and get to a quarterback really well. So give me Joel Embiid for D-line.
All for that.
All right. So, Matt, you are on the clock for your second round pick.
All right. I'm gonna go with Akron star wide receiver LeBron James.
Oh, jeez.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Well, I don't want. I'm more concerned about this guy getting taken at other positions, so we're just gonna get him off. We're gonna do former teammate of Steve Nash. We're gonna do Shaq. Shaq is gonna be my my O-line.
Okay.
Gonna be your safety.
Ooh, you guys just wait until my cornerback pick. My cornerback pick is gonna be amazing.
All right. So, oh man. Okay, so I'm really trying to think of who can be. All right, you know what? I think as far as a ball hawk goes, you need somebody that can jump up really high. And I'm gonna go Zach LaVine for. I'm gonna put him at my corner position.
Okay.
And call me crazy just because it's an all-time draft, but you know I always love watching that slam dunk competition.
Yeah.
So yeah. All right.
All right. Next, I'm gonna go with for my tight end. I'm gonna go Kevin Durant.
At tight end.
Tight end. Wait, hold on a minute. Are we doing tight end?
Yeah, we can do tight end. Yeah, let's do
All right,
tight
cool.
end in there. Fine.
Come on, tight end. Tight end is like the most NBA NFL position ever.
It is.
Well, I agree, but Kevin Durant.
Yeah. Okay.
He's skinny. That's my concern.
I like
6'11".
This is a pick probably nobody would have thought of, but if you think about it, it makes complete sense. Because when I'm taking a cornerback, I want a feisty MFer. Okay. And when I think of that, my head automatically goes to Pat Bev. My cornerback is gonna be Patrick Beverly, baby. He put some clamps on somebody.
Okay. For me, I'm gonna go tight end next, and I am going to pick. It's another current player. Give me Draymond at tight end.
I like that. Michigan State too.
Yeah.
So.
I like it. I mean, right. I'm gonna probably catch a lot of heat for this, but you know, I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. I think I'm gonna go running back. Running back, Russell Westbrook.
I like that.
Just an athlete.
I like that.
I got my running back. I'm so excited.
Yeah. To appease the people, We'll go D line, and we'll do Glenn, big baby Glenn Davis, a D line.
All right. For running back, I'm going Allen Iverson.
Oh, I was really hoping you weren't going to do that.
Just because, I mean, he can shake you. I mean, he'll break your ankles, man. You watch it, and you give him the ball, he's going to get it there. So, oh, man. I think he played running back in high school, too. You might have to fact check me.
He played quarterback.
Quarterback? Okay. All right. I was going to say he was a running quarterback, too, I think, as well. I think he had a lot of rushing touchdowns. But, Matt, you're up.
On the D line, I'm gonna go Hakeem Olajuwon.
Ooh, I like that.
Just tall defensive guy.
All right, Ben.
Well, we're just gonna pick just one of the most competitive guys to ever play the game. For I don't know if I want him at wide receiver or running back. We'll do running back because he's shifty. We're gonna give me Kobe.
Okay.
All right, Kobe's my RB.
All right. I know who my quarterback's gonna be, but I just don't want to pick him right now. For wide receiver, you need somebody that's also gonna jump high. I'm scared to draft him though. I don't know if I want to do it just yet.
What?
No, I'm not gonna do it. Dude, it's so hard doing this like off, you know. You know what?
Ooh.
I know who I'm going for. Give me what's his name? I'm thinking of it. Hold on a second.
What team do you play for?
No. Hold on. I got this. Yep, there it is. Give me Dennis Rodman at linebacker.
Oh, I like it. And I think I know who you're going with as your quarterback. So to spite you, I might take him just at another position to tell you to F off.
Oh, I forgot that's a thing. Yeah. Okay. Matt, I think you're up.
All right.
If you do this to me, Ben, I swear to God, I'm smacking you next week.
Oh, you can play it. I think I know exactly who you're.
I
could be wrong.
Hopefully not.
I'm gonna go Ja Morant at safety.
Ooh, I like that one. I think it's important for people to remember that this is an all-time draft. So at safety, I want a guy who can see the field really well and can see everything that's going on.
Ben, I'm gonna smack you.
And is athletic. And I'm going with Magic as my safety. I don't know if that's who you were thinking. That's a shame.
No.
I was really hoping. The only reason I picked Magic is to spite you. No. But yeah. Anyways, it still works. Big, athletic, and can see the field really well. Magic is my safety.
You got to go with the number one guy for passing records when you pick your quarterback, and that's going to be John Stockton.
Stockton.
I don't know how he fell, but yeah, give me Stockton at quarterback, just because I don't want him to go to a different position. Also, I just found out. Nope, never mind. Sorry, I wrote in Magic as my safety, so my defense is not set. Anyway, all right, continue.
Matt?
Do you want to add edge rusher just because we have an extra position on
I think that'd
offense?
Be cool. That'd be cool.
All right, let's do it. We're adding edge. All right. So, all right, continue then.
Ooh, here's a fun one. Klay Thompson at corner.
Oh, well. All right.
He's good on the edge. I like it.
Yeah. This guy has to come off the board at some point. I mean, this dude is NFL built. So we're gonna put a guy who can play above the rim quite literally at my tight end position. But we're picking Zion as my tight end.
Mm.
Heck yeah, I'm killing this draft, guys.
I like mine as well. I'm going the GOAT at my wide receiver position. And that's going to be Michael Jordan.
I like it. Ain't no way. Okay. Matt?
Somebody's
All right.
eager.
I'm gonna go Scottie Pippen at my other corner spot.
Oh, we're just doing we're not doing.
Yeah, we're doing only one
Okay.
corner.
Okay. Then I'll put him at my edge rusher.
Okay.
Mm.
I don't know how this guy is still here. But my guy is gonna carve you guys up playing outside wide receiver. We're doing the Greek Freak at my wide receiver, baby.
That's good. That's a good
I don't
pick.
know how he is here.
Oh, dude, I was going to pick him for my edge.
I just need edge and linebacker now.
I'm really trying to think. As far as an edge rusher goes, because I feel like offensive line, I mean, you guys both have offensive line picks, right?
Yeah, yes.
Okay, cool. So
I do not.
You don't, Matt?
No.
Okay. Man. You know what? For edge rusher, I'm going Carl Malone.
I was literally about to do that as my pick.
Eat it. Anyway, Matt. This is our last pick, I think, right? Or second to last?
Second to last.
Second to last.
I'm gonna go for my O-line, Yao Ming.
I like that.
Massive.
Yeah, we're gonna go with one of the biggest, most physical guys here to ever play the game. For my edge rusher, we're doing a good KG here. Yes.
Yeah, that was my second. Whatever.
Kevin Garnett. I just have a linebacker left. This is gonna be a tough decision, guys, but we'll figure it out.
Who to pick? All right, I'm going David Robinson for O-line.
That's a good one.
And that's my team. I'm all done.
All done.
I got linebacker left.
Me too.
Wait, what do you not have? Wait, Ryan's done?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
We'll
there's no way
recap
you're
it
done.
for those.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no,
You're
yeah,
the
no, I
tight
still
end?
have my safety.
Safety, okay.
Yeah, there it
Okay.
is. My bad. Yeah, I
Okay.
forgot I scribbled that one out. Okay. My bad.
Linebacker. I'm gonna go Kawhi Leonard.
I like that.
The claw. No, I probably would have picked him for safety. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. I like my team.
This is tough. See, for my linebacker, I need somebody who can communicate really, really well. He's not super athletic, so we're going like old school thumper vibes that can communicate the defense with my linebacker. We're putting some Jokic action here at linebacker.
All right, you guys ready for my safety pick? So, as for my team, my quarterback is number 1 in all-time steals. So I'm going with number 2 on that list for all-time steals, and that's going to be Jason Kidd at my safety spot.
No, that's a good one.
That's pretty good, yeah.
All right, so I think we're all done, right?
Yeah.
All right, so Matt, do you want to recap your team?
Or can I change? Can I
Yeah,
change my linebacker? I'm gonna choose
Who's your linebacker?
doing Aaron Gordon.
Okay. All right. Who was your
Jokic.
linebacker?
Jokic would run a 5 flat 40.
Jokic.
Jokic was? Okay. Anyway. Yeah. All right. So, Matt, go ahead and recap your team.
All right, my team: quarterback Chris Paul, running back Russell Westbrook, wide receiver LeBron James, tight end Kevin Durant, offensive lineman Yao Ming. That's my offense. And then defense, D-line Hakeem Olajuwon, linebacker Kawhi Leonard, edge rusher Scottie Pippen, corner Klay Thompson, safety John Morant.
All right. Ben?
At quarterback, I debatably the best passer to ever play the game, Steve Nash. Wide receiver, Greek Freak. Oh my God. O-line, that would be crazy. O-line, just Shaqs. That'd be really scary. Running back, we have Kobe, and tight end we have Zion. For edge, we have KG, Kevin Garnett. For D-line, this is to appease the people. Probably wouldn't have taken this, but I'll have Aiden. So Glenn Davis. For linebacker, Aaron Gordon. Cornerback, we have Pat Bev. And for safety, we have Magic.
All right. And then to end us off, for my quarterback, I had John Stockton. For my running back, I had Allen Iverson. For my wide receiver, I had Michael Jordan. For my tight end, I had Draymond Green. For my offensive line, I had David Robinson. For my D-line, I have Joel Embiid. For my safety, I have Jason Kidd. For my corner, I have Zach LaVine. For my linebacker, I have Dennis Rodman. And then for my edge spot, I have Karl Malone. So to end it off, ladies and gents, the 2 hour and 6 minute first broadcast that we have here on StreamYard. Thank you to StreamYard for helping us broadcast today. If you guys are watching on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, thank you guys for tuning in. Go ahead and follow us on those socials as well, just to kind of stay up to date with everything. Special shout out to those on Facebook because those are majority of my family members. So you guys might get a little extra something if you guys are on that page. And then, so basically if you made it this far, we want to say thank you for listening all the way through. We hope you enjoyed this week's episode of the Pigskin Project. We have a lot of people scheduled for next week's show. Just to put it out there, we're really excited to have a bunch of you guys on. Thank you guys for the support thus far. We also have the draft next week, so that's huge. So make sure that you guys are subscribed and followed on all those platforms that I mentioned before. We'd like to give a thank you to Anchor.fm and Uppercuts Grooming for helping us promote our podcast. Please leave a review down below as it helps us more than you know. That's it for this week, except Ben has one more comment for you guys before we sign off.
Real quick, just in case you guys are listening, we are still putting out a mock draft this week. We're just decided it'd be a lot better for us to kind of record it and then put it out. And then this episode, just in case you guys aren't listening to it live, is also going to be out. It's recorded and it's going to be out as well on the podcasting platforms that you guys are used to listening to it on. But yeah, and just in case you're live in the chat, again, there will be a mock draft episode that is released tomorrow, so stay tuned for that.
All right, so without further ado, so that's it for this week. Can't wait. Draft week. So we will see you guys next week. We are signing off, and thank you guys again for listening to the Pigskin Project.